Hello, this is Eve from 3D Fashion and Color. Now, today I'm going to show you how to create a corset, the one that goes under the bust in Style 3D Atelier. So the one that just goes, it's just a basic corset. So let's begin. Before we begin, I'll create the corset, but then afterwards otherwise the video will be too long. I'll show you how it fits in nicely with the rest of the garment. So what I'm going to be showing you is only the corset. The rest of the garment is pretty simple because I may be putting maybe a top with puff sleeves, a tiered skirt, something like that, just to show you how the corset fits in nicely. So let's begin. So first here we sort of want to understand gonna put this we're gonna start at this level here. So we're going to get our pen tool and we're going to begin tracing. Now we can even get the rectangular tool, but I'm gonna take the pen tool and just let's just begin tracing here. So we can already apply some leather. So let's go to our fabric resources here. So we can maybe we can choose this one. Yeah, okay. Leather sheepskin. Okay. So we've chosen our leather sheepskin and I think we should apply it. Okay. So here it is. So we decided to use leather sheepskin and here it is. I hope we'll see how it works. Now, the important thing here is to create 3 panels, and I'll explain why. So we're going to create 3 panels. So we have symmetry on these two. So we're going to go to our add point tool here, and we're going to, I would say about here. You can click here, and then we can click here. It doesn't have to be equal, like that. And what we can do here is we're going to draw a line. Then we're going to do another line here, for example. Okay, always our add point tool. Now, if this is too, okay, Control Z. Let's put it over here. Let's put it about here. Okay. I'm going to draw another line here. And now we're going to cut and sew these lines. So we have this line to cut and sew. Hold on Shift, this one, right click, cut and sew. Okay, so in the ending, I want 3 panels and I'll show you why. Remember now, 2 panels, let's check out the 3D window. So these 2 panels here, 1, 2. They're going to be for the button, not the button, for the eyelets. Okay. The middle panel, we're going to join this line here. Oh, yes. The middle panel here, it's going to be transparent. The reason being, it's when you put the eyelets and we add the ribbons or the ties or the laces, whatever, however you call it. If you don't have some sort of a support, it's not gonna come out really well. It's gonna be all wonky. It's gonna really pull. So we need this transparency to always create the illusion that there is nothing there. And for now, of course, when I put these two here, transparent, you're gonna see the skin. And then when we put our garment underneath, you're gonna see the color of the garment. Okay. Sort of separate things here. Let's try to understand what's what. Okay. So transparent fabric here, what we can do is we can maybe use another, just a regular fabric for the transparent fabric. So we're just going to go out to our object browser, add a fabric like this. Okay. We click on it. And here in the property editor, we find alpha. Alpha here, we bring it down. Okay. Bring down the opacity. So it's applied to this fabric here. And here we just label it as transparent. Now we're going to apply it to these middle pieces here. So we're going to do this. We could drag and drop. Okay, not good. Here, one, and here, two. Okay, so here we have the middle piece. Here is where we're going to put the eyelets. Is we're going to try to understand which is which. So the transparent pieces are these two pieces here. Okay, this one and this one. And we're just gonna move that out of the way. Just remember they're the transparent pieces. Okay. Now these two pieces here, these two panels, we're gonna be adding the circles. So we're going to go up to our oval tool. We click on it and we're going to begin adding circles. We can hold down shift if we want it to be a proper circle like this. And here again, what we can do is click on our select move tool. We can control C, control V, and there it is. It's not going. I have a problem with my with some of the shortcuts copying. Okay, I think it's the cause of the computer, so bear with me. I may just really use it everything manually and don't use any shortcuts. Anyway, let's try again. Control C, control V. Okay, here it works. Now you can try to decide exactly where you want these circles to be. So you have this guideline. If you notice these lines that they come up, and they show you more or less, okay, the measurements between the length, the distance between the first circle and the second circle. So here we're just gonna concentrate on just placing the circle in a proper way. So I'm going to place it like this, but before you place it, if you want to add other circles, you can just right click and this dialog box comes up And here the number, it tells you the number of circles. Okay, it depends on how many you want to add. Let's say I added 6 circles. And here it gives you the angle. Sometimes for me, the angle just doesn't work too right. So I do something. I'll show you what I do. Okay, I click on OK. And here I have everything's placed the way it's supposed to be placed. And what I can do is if I can easily shift this so that it's not off center, put it to the center like this. Click on one of the circles, highlighted circles, and you just move all of them. Oh, it's not easy. Towards the center, like that. Okay. So now we have our circles. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to first work with one circle. I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to select this circle. Of course, there is the symmetry, as you've seen. And what we can do is we're going to take the oval tool. We can already cut and sew this circle. We can do it here. So let's one thing at a time. So we select one circle. We select the edit pattern tool. We right click and we can cut and sew. Okay, so this piece belongs to this circle here, the first one. Now, let's move it out of the way so you can understand better the procedure. Now, this circle here, now if you've noticed, they're small circles. And look at what happens here in the 3D window. In the 3D window, it becomes like a diamond shaped. That's because we're not working with a lot of geometry when we make the circles so small. So this is something to keep in mind. So what we do now is here, I'm going to put another circle within this circle. So I'm going to click on the oval tool and I can hold down shift and just draw another one here. And then of course I'll move it to the center. So here you have this other circle within it. And then you right click and you cut and sew again. So here, this is cut and sewn again. So all of this for this, okay, they all belong to this, the first circle here. So you see it's cut and sewn. This piece was cut out of this. Now, here it's something you can do. Because the geometry is so messed up and because mind you, I'm doing this in the organic way. I'm not adding any OBJs or other eyelets that you get from the resource library. I'm just doing it organically on the garment. So I'm not adding anything. So there are a couple things you can do. Number one, you can decrease the particle distance first and see what happens to this to the piece, for example. So here's a particle distance. I can reduce it to 10 and I can simulate and try to see what happens. And there is the fact that we're also working with leather too. So really not much is happening. I can even reduce it to 5 and simulate, and I don't see much happening. Okay, so not much. And this is also maybe the fact that this is the leather we're working with. Now, what I can do is this. Because we're working with less geometry, I can try to add geometry. And you say, how do you do this? You add geometry by adding extra points. So here, what we can do is we're going to get our add point tool and just take a look at what happens when, let's see, I'll make it bigger. Take a look at what happens when I add a point. Take a look at this shadowed part here in the middle. You see, it goes towards, it's all filling in. Here, look at this. Look at this. Because I'm adding geometry. So I'm making it rounder. I'm going to add geometry for the others. Look at this. Here too. And here too. So when you do this, everything becomes rounder. Then we can try to simulate and see. You see in the 3D window, everything looks rounder, looks much better. Now, if the circle, if it was bigger, there'd be less problems with this, it being jagged like this. So we're going to work with this like this because afterwards we're going to be adding thickness and we could even add an extra layer and even make it round. And even we're going to even for the particle distance, yes, we could even bring it down to 3. So we're going to work with this. Now, this is all the first layer. Now, another thing here in the 3D window, here, because it's an eyelet, we want to add transparency to this one. I'm going to shape this part. I don't like the way it is, like straight like this. So I'm going to click on the Edit Curve tool, and I'm going to just bring that out a little bit. Okay, that's good. So what we can do here is, remember, let's recap. This, we're working with this circle here. Here we have the symmetry. We've cut and sewed it. And this is the piece we've removed from it. And then we added another circle here. And then we've cut and sewn and we removed this piece. We're going to put now add the transparency to this piece here. This middle piece. So we're going to just drag it here and you see what happens. And we're going to do it over here too. And here it is. So these 2 eyelets are practically completed. We have other adjustments to do, but they're practically completed. Now we need the others to look like this. Now, what we're gonna do is here, we've only drawn circles, but we have to convert them to holes. So we're gonna click on one, hold on Shift, we get the others, right click, and we're just gonna convert them to holes. So here, these were converted to holes. Now, here, the finished part here of the circle here, this part, we're going to be copying and pasting because we're going to sew them on to the holes. Okay, we're going to fill up these holes with this. Now let's move some pieces around here so we don't get confused. Put it here. Okay, and here I'd like to put this in the middle like that because this is the first for the first holes that were done. Now Here, another thing we can do, let's take a look here. We can add some more geometry to these holes here. We can add more geometry because we can do that. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to get our add point tool here, and we're just going to just add some points. So we round it up even more. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so that looks a bit better. Now let's begin copying and pasting. Okay. So we've copy and pasted this one, and I'm going to show you how I intend to sew it onto this too. Okay. What I'm going to do in the meanwhile is I'm going to, so that it's easier for you to understand, otherwise everything's the same color. See, it's the same color. I'm going to make this metallic the way the eyelet should be. So I'm going to take the leather sheepskin here, click on it, and I'm going to make a copy of it. So here I made a copy of the leather sheepskin. I'm going to click on it here in the property editor. Let's check out here. We have this matte finish, but we need a metallic type of thing. So let's add this metallic finish here onto this and see how it looks. No, no. It doesn't really change it much. What we can do is then let's colorize it. So, okay, we make it dark like this. We just add a gray on it. We colorize it. That's it. And then we can, of course, work on the shine. When we go to the property editor, we could just like use the gloss um, property, the gloss map here. We can increase the strength of the gloss here, of the shine rather. And there are other things. So now we can at least distinguish here the eyelet is over here. See, it's over here. Let's see. I have to see what that is, but for now, let's concentrate on the eyelet. Let's see. No, here it is. Okay, this one wasn't colored. So we need to color this one here. Okay, here it is. So what we have to do is we need to sew it this on to this. So the outer part of this circle has to be sewn onto this this circle here, this one, the one that was converted to hole. So we're going to use our MN free sewing tool and we're going to do like this. Now, when I clicked on the MN free sewing tool, note that sewing relationships came up. This one and this one. Okay, you see the sewing relationships here, but not this one, because this one now has to be attached to this. Okay, and now we've attached them. So here, let's just simulate, and here we have them. Let's just go back and colorize here these two, the parts of the eyelet here. 1 and 2. So just to recap, you have to work with the first you have to create the holes. Okay, the first one, you don't necessarily have to create a hole. You can leave it as is. You create circles within, and you keep cutting and sewing until you end up with this. Here, this part here, we create a transparency. And the reason we created a transparency and not a hole is I found it's much better to do it that way, because I'll show you later on why. Okay, so now all we have to do is to continue copying, pasting, and sewing these eyelets onto these circles that were converted to holes. That's the only thing we have to do now. So I've gone ahead and I've copied and pasted these eyelet parts here, and I've sewn them onto these circles. And here is the result. Not too bad. Now, it's time to, of course, there are a lot of things we can do with this corset. We can also put some piping and, etc., etc. But we're focusing on these eyelets. Now we're going to have to put the ties or the ribbons or the laces, okay? So what we want to do is I mentioned something about the fact that here, when I did the first eyelet here, I really didn't want to leave the center without just like that converted to a hole. I just did the cutting and sewing so that this is attached to this. And the reason being is I think that I'm going to be adding some lines to this, vertical lines. And these, when I've experimented, I discovered that it really holds the laces better. And it also, when you attach we're going to be drawing out the lace panels with the rectangular tool. When you attach them to these lines and you go in and out the eyelets, you have a better illusion of the fact that it's being threaded in and out. Okay, so it looks really much better. So here, on each circle here, where the transparency was added, I'm going to be drawing 2 lines. So here we can take, now I've gone ahead, I've drawn these vertical lines in this transparent circle here. Okay, two vertical lines. And I've also hidden the avatar so we could work better with this corset. I've even hidden a part of the corset, the back part. Now, note that in the other software, Clo3D Marvelous Designer, now they have this lace up tool. So it's easier to lace up your corsets and the other garments. In Style3D, we don't have that yet. So I'm going to teach you how to create it organically. Okay, so let's begin creating our ribbons or laces. So here we have to go up to our rectangular tool. And here I think everything's organized enough. We can just draw out here a piece, a panel that is. Here, this fabric, I'm going to apply this fabric here. And here we find it over here. So we can just bring it and place it here. Now, this fabric, I will say it's a default fabric, and it shouldn't be too stiff. And another thing is that you should apply the particle distance, a low particle distance to these pieces, these smaller pieces, okay, for them to become more highly defined, and then it's easier for you to work with them. So here I'm going to just make it here a little bit smaller like that. Let's check out in the 3D window. Now, remember, we want to do the sewing here, okay? So I'm going to place this right up here on top, at the top. So I'm going to sew, I'll show you, this part here to this line to this line. Okay, remember the lines, there are two because we always want to create that illusion that it's being really laced in a certain way. So with a segment sewing tool, we're going to begin. And here, so far so good. So let's see. Okay. Now what color is this? Okay. We're going to flip it. Okay, like that. And we're going to put the cloth, we can leave the cloth thickness on, okay? Because we're going to concentrate on these laces. Just like that. Okay, I think that's better. And here, just going to show you, here I'm going to turn it down to 10. And here it's simulating. I'll let it simulate again here. Simulate now. And it's already better. Now, we need now a piece of this ribbon or lace that goes like this from here to here and here to here. So we're going to do the copy and pasting. And we can copy and paste this one again. So here in the 3D window, We can turn it like this, turn the pieces like this diagonally, and this one we can turn this diagonally. Now, this one is on the outside and we want these to be on the inside, okay? So we're gonna select them. First, let's do like this. Let's sort of mimic what's going on in the 3D window. So, we create less confusion. Let's see this part. Okay, like that. Like that. So what we're gonna do is we're going to take this, it's on layer 0, and we're just gonna push it back. We're gonna work with this one first here. So we're gonna put it up like this. We go to our segment sewing tool. Then we're gonna go over here. And here now, be careful of the way you place this because we really always want to create that effect. So we go to our segment sewing tool, and let's turn it around first. We try to understand which vertical line we'd like to sew the edge of this piece of ribbon onto. Okay, so we want to sew it onto the part because now this is in and then one has to come out. So we want to sew it on to the inner part, the inner line here. So when we turn it, it would be like the first line. I'll show you. Okay, it would be, let's see, segment sewing. Okay, it would be this one. Okay, let's make sure. And here, this one. Now let's simulate. Okay. And everything is in its place. So far, so good. Now, what we have to do is we have to copy and paste these again. So we select and we're going to copy and paste. Let's go again. No, it's not taking the whole. Okay, that's better. No. Oh, okay. Because I'm not on the select move tool. But it's not working anyway. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, here it is. So here we have this. Now, this one has to stay on the top. Now, if we simulate and we have problems with these pieces of ribbon not going where it's supposed to go, for example, if it's supposed to be at the back, it's coming to the front, then we have to work with the layers some more. For now, the layer 0, it's just maybe a question of just positioning it and everything's fine. So let's check that out. Another thing is, of course, the particle distance. It really helps you to, when you apply the particle distance already to these pieces, whether it be 10 or 5. So this one, yeah, it's already on 10. I think it's okay. So here now, let's check out, see what's going to go on here. Segment sewing, we attach segment sewing, and here this line goes here. Okay, has to be attached to this. The end is here, so we'll do like this. Oops. Okay. Okay, this one, it's the outer one. Okay, has to be attached to this one here. Okay. Now here we have to check and see where it has to be attached. So the segment sewing, we select segment sewing, and here again we attach it to this one here, right to the edge, right, that one. Okay, and we do the same for this. Oh, okay. So I think it's okay. Now this one has to stay on top. So we're gonna simulate, see what happens. Okay, and it's on the top. Now it's up to you and me to judge, to understand, does it look like it's coming out of, like it's going like this, like this? Okay, let's check it out and see. Because sometimes if you put the lines too far away, they may look disconnected. So that's something you'd want to check. We can even bring down the particle distance to 5 also. That helps a lot. Okay. Let's see. So I think that I'm really not convinced. Let's say this here. Let's turn it. So the lines may be too far apart, and this part, this one here. So you see, it's like even this one here too. They may be too far apart. So what we can do then is, let's troubleshoot. We can go over to those lines and just start putting them a little closer together. So we're talking about these, okay? So let's put them closer together and see what happens. If it looks better, then we'll do that for the rest of the lines. So with our edit pattern tool, we can select a line here. Let's see. We could just, let's see, like that. We could select this. Do like that. Let's make sure that both of them, they go towards the outline. Okay, now we've gotten only one here. That's not good. Control Z. Okay, let's see. Hmm. Okay, let's be careful with the geometry. We can also redo these lines if we having really bad problems. Okay, let's simulate now, see what happens. Okay, it's much better, I think. Let's see, I think we're getting there. Okay, so this is quite better. This one here is quite better. Now let's check out this one here. Mm. This is the second one. Okay, 1, 2. So it would be this one here. No, no. This one, it would be this one here because the first is 1, 2. Okay, so here it's really far apart. And so the edit pattern tool, we're going to bring it closer together. Let's try with this to the outline. And then let's bring this over like that and extend it a bit. Let's extend it using this. No, we don't want them to go to join, to merge. Okay. Okay. Now let's simulate and see. Okay. Yes, this is much better. So here it's much better because you see that it always creates that illusion of you, it's going through like that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to adjust the others. I'm going to put them a little closer and then we'll see what's what. So I've moved these vertical lines like closer to each other. Now, besides using vertical lines, you can also use diagonals, okay? Depends on the look you want also, or even horizontal, because then you can attach the laces in certain ways. Be creative. Now, here I'm going to, there again, we can go along, copy paste. I'm just going to do one at a time like that. So there again, this one has to go underneath. So here we turn it, we place it under, and we begin segment sewing. Segment sewing tool here. Try to understand where you're sewing it, what you're sewing it onto rather. And yeah, okay. See, and here, because all these lines, I know they look confusing. Would be, let's see this one here. So then to the closer one here, the one that's closer. Okay. Just remember you do it in a way because you want to see this, just the creation of the illusion. Okay. Let's see this segment. So, no, not that, not good. Mm. Okay, no, it couldn't be like that. Let's see. Okay. Anyway, this part, this has to stay underneath. Let's simulate, see what happens, because I'm not sure about it. See if something is wrong here. Okay, it stayed underneath, but what we do is we have to fix this part here. Let's just Control Z this. Okay, let's go again. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Let's turn it now and see what's what. Now, so far, so good. Because we have a lot of problems that can arise when we're doing this. We can have, for example, the back part come into the front, okay? Because here we want this to stay underneath and this one too. This is on the top and we can have these problems. And there, what you do is you can work with your layers. You can work with your particle distance. You can work with fabric properties also, the stiffness of the material, and you can work with collision. So these are problems that may arise. For now, everything's fine because when I select each of the pair of ribbons, I either push it to the front or to the back. And if you notice over here in the property editor, they're on layer 0 because, and for example, it relies on like the skin to fabric or fabric to fabric, like a collision detection. So the important thing is like to set. It's already all set. You know where you want to set it, at the back or the front, and then you simulate. If you have problems at that point, set the layers, then you go up 1, 2, 3 accordingly. For example, this here would be number 1. This would be -1. So these are problems that you can have. Now let's do a last one, and then I'm going to speed up the other two. So here again, we can just copy. Let's do like, okay, like this. You can copy and paste. Here we have it. But this one is going to be coming to the front. So we move it to the front and then we sew it accordingly. So segment sewing tool. Here we're going to turn it and we're going to sew it on this one here. Okay. Let's go again. Okay. Here we're going to go here. No, this was wrong. I should have sewn it on this one here. The one here. Okay, over. This is on the top. No. This is correct. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Now let's simulate, see what happens, because there can always be surprises. Okay, so far so good. So there we go. This is on the bottom. This is on the top. Okay, the top part. This is the bottom part. This is the top part. And we continue. So here, more or less, we're finished lacing this up. Okay, now we still have a piece that goes under here. We can copy and paste this panel here. Okay. Okay, and we put it down here. So here it is. It goes at the back. Like this. Segment sewing. Let's move things out of the way here so you can see what we're doing. Segment sewing. And simulation. Okay. So here we have it. So this is basically the laced up version of the corset, okay? The under corset, we call it. And here there are many things now because I just wanted to show you the basic workflow. And now you can go and you can embellish, you can put a lot of things, piping. Of course, the finished video, as I've promised, I'm going to show you this corset on other garments, and the finished, maybe I'm going to put a little piping, maybe a bow, maybe something just to make it really look cute. And but the important thing, the objective is to show you how my workflow, how I do it. Now, this is Eve signing off, and see you in the next videos. Have a nice day.